Someone attacked my character Candy. Their name is inspired by you because I didn't know the name for Candy Beads until I watched your streams. Oh wait, that's awesome. Fascinating. I know. Okay, I'm laughing a little bit. No, no. Be nice. Look at Miss Huntress Mega Guardian Angel. I will laugh, but I will smile. There's a butterfly in my room? That sounds like it's a good omen. You gotta let it out, though. Don't let it die. Blowing a minimal amount of air from my nostrils. Who knows? Maybe it's really scary. Kara looked at me with their blood-red eyes and quoted my exact IP address. Anyone who's laughing is wrong. Like, what? You think Undertale's amazing narrative and story can't be really cool horror? I think that Undertale is... Okay. Personally, I love Undertale and I love Deltarune, but I think there's a quiet horror to those games already. Like, genuinely, there are things about Deltarune that are genuinely, like, frightening. I don't think I would be so scared that I stayed awake at night, but also I'm 26, so that's the difference, I guess. First time experience for everything. Undertale already has scary concepts in it, so I don't get forced horror stuff people make. Yeah, I want to support her interests. How quickly we forget the True Lab. The True Lab was pretty terrifying. I think Toby manages to soften a lot of blows because of giving things a happy ending that I don't know if that will happen per se in Deltarune, which I think makes me like it more, but also I am like doing my own self-care while playing the game because I'm like, okay, great game, I don't want to be miserable. Literally just play the whole Alfie's determination thing. Yeah. Random fact about me. Ralsei Deltarune was my bi-awakening. That's beautiful. I'm so proud for you. I really hope Deltarune gets scary. I want to see Toby unleashed. I genuinely don't think you have to hope too hard for that because in a lot of ways I feel like it's already happening. But I can't guarantee. Again, this is coming from someone that hasn't finished the new chapters, but like, I don't think you'll have to hope too hard for that, depending on what you play and how you play. I honestly think that it'll get that way regardless of how you play. Yeah, the weird route specifically, but there's also things just about the general story that are kind of frightening. I love how you drawn the teddy bear here. Thank you. Hold on, I got my... Also, the other update that I had was that our daughter tried to bring up the trash cans, but apparently the trash has not been taken. This is not where, like, we are, so I'm not self-doxing. But has anyone seen the Philadelphia trash strike that's been going on? I don't know who's been, like, who watches the news. I'm not really a news head, but I have that part of my brain. So what's going on is that, like, the trash workers are not being properly paid, like, which is crazy, right? You would think that if anyone was getting paid to do a job that's considered like an essential job, sanitation work, like janitors and trash, like, disposal people, those are like integral to society alongside like nurses and doctors and people that make sure that food is safe. Well, really just make sure we have food. I would say that trash removal is one of the most important jobs because without it, I think we're on day 7 of the protest. Seeing the piles of garbage has been insane. Like, I genuinely am terrified because I'm really scared of, like, unsanitary stuff. I, like, I have OCD and all, but just tuning in, your style suits this character so well. Thank you. Sanitation workers are the backbone of society, and I have a lot of respect for them. I worked as a janitor very briefly when I was a teenager. I say briefly, but it was like 5 years. But like, it was not an easy job. I liked some parts of it, like being able to kind of just tune out the rest of the world and clean. But people really don't respect you in that job, and they don't realize how much that if you don't show up and you don't do your work, or someone doesn't show up and do that job, things fall apart really fast. If someone's not disposing of unsanitary material, it puts a lot of people at risk. So it means you're like on the front lines for making sure that everyone's safe. I think you should drive the piles of garbage to whoever decides their income. So yes, they have actually been doing that. People have been driving their garbage bags to City Hall. So yes. I saw someone picking up trash in their car for $25 because of the strikes. That's funny, although the only thing I would say is that's technically being a scab, because you're basically like breaking or crossing the picket line when it comes to like striking workers. But I know most people like don't know this. They're just seeing this and they're like, oh, it's an opportunity to make money. So just know that if someone's on strike and they're going up against like bad worker pay or worker comp, don't fill in for the job that they're not doing. The purpose of the strike is that the work doesn't get done, because it's meant to prove that that work is necessary. So if they want that work done, they got to be paying the workers accordingly. Coffee that's real? Ooh, coffee would be... I don't need coffee, but I would love coffee right now. I'm hydrating regular water, though. Yeah, that's crossing the picket line. Okay, I was glad I was not misusing that. I know there's also that with, like, purchasing goods. So, like, if workers are on strike and the shop is still open, like, say, for example, Amazon workers strike, you're not meant to purchase from Amazon while they're striking, because that's considered crossing the picket line. If anything, what can help is some union strikes is by calling those in charge and demanding better rights for those striking. You could do that. Now, I would say it would be really funny if they were being paid $25 to bring their trash to City Hall, on the other hand. I think that would be hilarious. And I don't think that would be technically crossing the picket line. That would be pretty on the nose for what they were trying to do. Alright, I really like this character design. It's very cute. I think this bottom half of the head is getting kind of flattened, though, on the bag. This job is Serene Miscellany. What is the stream? Welcome in, Serene. Hello. We have a bunch planned to work on tonight, but if I can get like 2 things on this to-do list done, I will be pretty happy. Shooting for 3. I would really like to get thumbnail colors for at least 1 thing done. And then, obviously, I want to get this piece done, because this is, like, today's art fight piece. And I would love to sketch tomorrow's, or thumbnail tomorrow's at the very least. Because what I did is I sketched this one last night. So I found by sketching the art fight pieces the night before, it gives me the whole day to focus on, like, rendering them. Which, I don't know why, it just works better for my workflow. I thought you were supposed to keep doing whatever you would normally do, because then the work builds up and shows that it has to be done. I mean, yes, that is what you're supposed to do. That is absolutely what you're supposed to do.
It depends on what the union is calling for.
Yeah, that is true too. I know there were some trash workers that were also like that were saying that seeing people drop off their trash at City Hall was pretty funny. All right, there we go. Maybe sleeping and waking refreshed helps for sure. Hey, Critter, I just got a new dog. Oh, that's awesome. What kind of dog? It is absolutely scabbing, but I think that dumping a landfill would cost them more than 25, so what are they doing with the trash? Wait, that's a really good question.
What's it?
Well, okay, wait, it's possible that they're charging multiple people $25, and then they're filling up their car, and then they're going to the landfill once. Because usually you pay just per car, or per the weight of your car. So that's possibly it. Some places have a yearly fee. Gotcha.
her. Get off my... Jesus.
He's being naughty. It'd be really funny if they were also dumping it at City Hall. That's what I'm saying, and getting paid to do that. So you have a larger vehicle, might be cost effective? Yeah, and that's why I'm saying, as much as I understand people looking for like a money-making opportunity, it's better to like support the striking workers. Harbor being even evil baby, which is so funny because before stream he was being so sweeties. I know you're a horror enjoyer. I watched The Substance for the first time the other day and really enjoyed it. I was wondering if you'd seen it, as some crazy cool body horror handles its themes really well. I actually haven't seen it, but I would like to. I know what the plot of the movie is, because sometimes when it comes to specific types of horror, like body horror, I like to check the plot beforehand so I know if I have any triggers going into it. And I didn't, but it just intrigued me more because I thought that it sounded really cool. So that is one that I intend to and hope to watch soon. But there was something else that was on my radar before it that I would like to watch first. And I'm blanking on it right now. I think it might have been Sinners, because someone told me about Sinners in chat. I really want to see it. I watched The Substance in theaters with my friends, and just after, we all just stood in the bathroom for a while. Awesome. Do you like Squid Game? I'm neutral on Squid Game. I think that the concept in itself was interesting, but the over-fandomization of a story that was meant to be anti-capitalist feels very out of touch with the messaging of the game, with the messaging of the original show and plot itself. And I find that while there are some parts of the plot that still stay true to the original idea of the show, now it just kind of reads as like shock content to me. It's not bad. Like, I think the plot is probably interesting, but as soon as I started seeing them release Funko Pops, I was like, okay, I think we've lost the plot. Sinners is so good. And have you watched The Thing? I love The Thing. I've seen both the original and the remake from 2011. I guess technically it wasn't a remake, it was a prequel, but I think that the prequel, while the effects are really good and I enjoy some parts of it, after watching the original, I understand why people don't like the prequel very much. Because the prequel, kind of, a lot of the horror elements they use fly in the face of what made the original one so what's the word? Like, oh, welcome in, Demily. Hello. I hope you guys had a lovely stream. I was playing Devil May Cry. Very cool. Hold on. I'm like, this looks really funny, but I'm just going to draw the arm sleeve on top, so I'm closing off all of these areas so that it's a little easier to fill in the colors here. We're working on a poignant, thank you. But yeah, we're working on an art fight attack. How was stream? I hope everything went well. We were talking about horror movies too. Alright. I love how you said that. Wait, how else are you supposed to say that word? Pognant? How do you say it? What do you mean? Is poignant not how you say it? Poignant. There's no G?
Pognant.
Pognant? I'm sorry. There's a G in
I'm
it.
saying pognant because
Okay.
I don't know how to say that word either.
More like poignant. Okay, okay. I also thought it was poignant. This is fascinating. Poignant. Poignant? That's that word? I didn't realize it was spelled like that. I thought it was an entirely different word that meant the same thing and was spelled very similarly. We're not gonna worry about it. Hi, little gay people in my phone. I love you. Hello. I'm the gay people in your phone, like a Tamagotchi. Poyo! Like Kirby. As a huge Squid Game fan, Netflix milking the shows makes me so sad. So sad. I can't read. I'm so sleepy today. But yeah, no, that's how I feel about it too. It's like live long enough and become the devil you sought to destroy sort of thing. Like, again, I think the original concept for Squid Game was really interesting, but the problem with anything getting like mass market success is that it's bound to become a like a toy, a thing to sell. Critter struggles with French words. It's always French words. This is why I can never go to France. They'll be so mean. How do you find people to attack most of the cool characters I find from my team? I mean, I do friendly fire. Sometimes it's not just like attacks. Like I think this character specifically might be friendly fire. Oh no, this is an attack. But what I do is typically I go into my friends' profiles, or I go into profiles of people that have attacked me, and then I look at what attacks they've gotten, and if I like the art style of an attack that they've gotten, I will go and look through their profile to see if they have a character design that I like, and then I'll attack them. The way I feel about fandomization of Squid Game is not dissimilar to how I feel with the fandomization of mouthwashing. I completely agree. What's that word for the way capitalism absorbs criticisms into itself? Subsummation, assimilation. That's it too. Like how, like, a media or story that criticizes capitalism will market itself off the fact that it criticizes capitalism, because technically it doesn't matter what you're saying so long as people are eating it up and you don't actually do anything that shakes the boat too hard and causes people to like. Okay, so like you'll see this a lot of times when something gets marketed as being anti-capitalist, especially in the States. The closest to being actually anti-capitalist that people will be is go capitalism bad, and then nothing will change. And usually the characters that go capitalism bad will be punished by the narrative in some way, or like their attempts to break out of it will be punished in some way, which is not unrealistic for how it happens in real life, because the system is really prone to beating you down if you try to escape it. However, I think that it's telling that in a similar way to how the Hays Code only allowed gay people to be present on stream so long as they were narratively punished or made villains, people can only really be anti-capitalist in media so long as they are punished or fail. And I think that that's the state of a lot of supposedly anti-capitalist media in the United States as of today. Tayl's favorite animal, mine are penguins. I like bunnies and cats. I was watching stream yesterday and my iPad glitched, making me lose most of my progress. I'm so sorry. Recuperation, in a sociological sense, recuperation is the process by which politically radical ideas and images are twisted into and co-opted, absorbed, diffused, incorporated and annexed or commodified within media, culture, and bourgeois society, and thus become interpreted through a neutralized, innocuous, or more socially conventional perspective. Thank you, Charmiest. I'm glad to know that there's actually a specific word for that. Or used for a sort of comedic relief and watered down. Actually, that's a huge one too. Have you noticed how a lot of times people will have characters that are like narratively punched down on or considered kind of like kooky by the rest of the cast say things that are more politically radical, therefore like almost deconstructing the message and not taking it seriously? Like how in almost every single movie from the 80s, there was someone that was like very like pro like earth, pro nature, but they were always like considered, I got the achievement of 250 attacks. Wait, that's awesome. But like they'll either be pro nature conservation or they'll be anti-global warming, and the protagonists very often like go, ugh, I can't believe this person is so overzealous about this, like they're so silly, like this isn't actually that big of a problem. And like the protagonist's normalcy is almost assured by their like nonchalance about what is genuinely a serious global issue, but because they're too like nonchalant essentially to care, the person that they're criticizing is the crazy one. But unless you keep money out of politics, it will eventually necrose into fascism. Or feminism was a big punching bag in the 80s too. That is very true. Feminism was a huge one. God, I didn't forget that, but now that you said it, I'm like thinking of a bunch of examples and I'm like, yeah. Narrative punching bags. This is one of the reasons why I always, when people talk about media literacy, and like the people's inability to read the hidden subtext of a piece of media, I find, okay, I'm gonna try and bring up vaguely an example that you may recognize. There are very popular pieces of media that claim to be anti-fascist or claim to dislike their fictional equivalent of a Yahtzee. But everything that the plot structure does basically reinforces the very ideology that the narrative itself claims to be against by constantly upholding the status quo, calling people that try to challenge the status quo strange, or like trying to push them back into their box, believing in birthright supremacy, so the idea that you can be born into greatness based off of your genetics rather than the things that actions that you do as a person, and alternatively believing in birthright evil, like believing in someone is ontologically born evil solely by how they're born, and the only path to redemption for people like that is to die. Like there are, and that sounds like, that may sound okay, well, so a lot of people got it right away, but that is a lot of different media. It's just that I think that was a lot of points in one category. Background music sounds like a PS4. Thank you, I like it to sound that way. Can I say, I just love how you're able to put what you're saying into a way that I can understand. I really struggle with understanding concepts and ideas. I appreciate it. I hate to say, I wasn't taken very seriously as a kid unless I could speak my opinions very clearly. So it led to me developing the skill because I needed to survive, because otherwise I wouldn't be listened to. But the thing that, despite that sucking and like not being something that was very pleasant to go through, it means now that I can help advocate for and explain things to other people. Critter is really good at communicating really based or important points. Thank you. I spend a lot of time getting into internal debates with myself to perfect my way of talking about them, because I get scared about coming off like I don't care, because I really cared. So I give a lot of brain space to it. Modoka Magica said, become a god and change the system, and I appreciate that. I do too. That's good, awesome. Also, Bugquilt, thank you for the resub. I also think that it's interesting too that, well, I can't spoil Rebellion, but I don't think that Rebellion actually goes against that initial messaging. I think what it does show is how systems of corruption can come back into existence because people's personal desires override the greater good, but that personal desires are not inherently evil, it's just how you act on them. Also, sorry, I'm getting my ass beat by this leg. I have redrawn this leg like 3 times because the original sketch, I feel like it doesn't look right, and I also think that I made the characters look a little bigger than they actually are, which is not a crime, but I want to try to stay like true to the character design. But then I made the knees too pointy, and I'm like, ah! Also, sorry, I have not watched She-Ra. I saw some people asking about it, and I'm like, I don't go to there. I have nothing to say because I don't know. I was going to watch Keep Up Demon Hunters, but after watching this, I don't think I should. The animation is beautiful, and all the credits to the animators, but... Okay, here's what I'm going to say. I think that you should watch it to form your own opinions. I think that regardless of talking critically about media, you should still go out of your way to consume it and see what it is we're talking about, because I think the idea of...
If you don't do that, you won't recognize it when you consume media by yourself.
Yes, I don't know if anyone could hear Faris, but he brought up the point that if you don't do that, you won't recognize it when you consume media by yourself without being told. Also, I heard a shop sale doodle-doo. Thank you for whoever that was. Actually, like a very good example of this is a lot of times people will go like, oh, I don't know how I didn't see this, or like, oh, I could never have expected it to mean this. Okay, a really good example of this actually was there was an anime farce and I were watching called Ranking of Kings, and the animation was beautiful and the opening was really good too. And as I was watching it, I was talking about it on Tumblr, and someone was brought up a point that Ranking of Kings is it's not great. It is a very, I can't remember what the exact word. It's like conquest media. It essentially is a Japanese nationalist piece of media, and supports colonialism. And I was really surprised to hear this because as I had been watching so far, the anime was just mostly little kid trying to like, prove that he was, suited to be a member of the kingdom despite the fact that he was deaf. And I was like, that seems really nice. Until it got to the end where the plot climaxed and their whole like evil villain that caused the entire plot to happen were just a kingdom of really awful, no good people that were just born evil, and they were always like that no matter how nice anyone was to them. And so they just deserved what happened to them. And I was like, that's crazy. That's such a weird thing from the same anime that encouraged you to have like empathy for a guy that tried to kill a 7-year-old. They're just like, actually an entire country of people is just really evil and deserves to die. And it's like, that's really weird. That's suspicious. That's strange. Yes, the tiny boy with the shadow creature. I'm being dead serious when I say we were watching the entire thing and I was like, what in God's green earth just happened? Because we went from like wholesome fantasy, like kind of fun plot driven adventure story to manifest destiny racism. What happened? But to be honest, going back and watching it, there were seeds like that being planted the entire time. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I encourage people to talk about and also to consume media to form their own opinions on things so that you can recognize it. So that when you're watching it, you are not one of those, I don't want to say like you're not like an Andy, but like there's a lot of people that because they like a show will defend its otherwise really controversial or like problematic undertones. And I'm not saying you can't have watched the show, because clearly I liked Ranking of King's story. I liked the animation. I thought it was beautiful. And then I got to that point in the show and went, oh my God, it's nationalism. We're just doing nationalism and colonialism. And I didn't know it until I got to that point. But I don't think that I would have known it if my gut reaction would have been to ignore it and defend rather than to question what was a really questionable plot point. Sorry, hold on, I'm cracking my knuckles. What show are you talking about? I was talking about Ranking of Kings. You have to consume media, know what it did good, and know what it did bad. You have to learn to pick apart media biases and see what your beliefs and thoughts say versus that and react accordingly. Maybe you learn and grow from it, maybe you ignore it. I completely agree. And actually, taking away what they did good and what you liked means that you can take it to your own stories, or alternatively, just look for other media that has similar themes and try to consume things with those themes. You'll come to know yourself better, but also understand what you didn't like about it. Freerun has the same problem with its demons, at least so far. I'm anime only, but I've heard the manga doesn't course correct at all. Again, I don't go to Freerun, but I have, and that's actually my first time hearing it, but I'm intrigued. I always love your streams because as a psychology student, it's cool to know different people's views and discuss shows and stuff like this. Oh yeah, it's really important. I think that it's important to do. Hold on, I gotta correct my wrist. Freerun didn't land for me because I'm German, and they're straight up using conjugated verbs as names. That's actually kind of fascinating. It's like the weeaboo version, but of liking German people and German words. I want to see someone do that with English. I want someone to name a character like Fast Running. Character called running. Kobolding, why the fuck did we think of the same thing? What? Why? Why were we looking at each other, psychic beams? How did that even happen? Of all, it's canon? I don't even go to Freerin. Awesome. Awesome. John R. Running, inventor of running. That's so funny. The liar character is called Liar. Okay, that's really funny. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a guy called Funny Valentine in Ringo Road Again. Help me. I feel like Metal Gear and Ace Attorney are also very close to becoming similar with the names. See, those are fun though. I feel like to a certain degree, Ace Attorney is self-aware. I've never caught your streams before. Nice. Welcome in, Galaxy Traveler. The JoJo's characters are named after American music, which I think is dope as hell. I think that that's very cool. I love it. There's a guy named Jacuzzi Splot in Bakano. His name is Jacuzzi? Okay, wait. I think there's just a slipper on this foot without any barriers. Did you yawn?
Well, I'm packing the remaining envelopes. And the sticky part got stuck on me.
Oh. And then you have medias that will make a big point and then immediately trip over the finish line in a massive view of hypocrisy. Oh yeah, I call that shooting your nuts off disorder. There are so many media that I literally have like a compiled list in my head of things that I'm like, you could have been so good if you didn't pull out a handgun and shoot your nuts off, like part way through or right before the ending. And there's so many of them. Shooting your what's off disorder, shooting your nuts off disorder. I did not stutter. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's like so many really interesting concepts get locked behind the fact that the writers just don't know how to write an ending. Or I guess forgot what they were writing halfway through. Adopting shooting your nuts off disorder into my lexicon. Yeah, it's very useful to describe many things. Wonder Egg also has shoot its nuts off disorder, and that one I don't even know what went wrong. Frankly, I have no idea what happened with Wonder Egg. I mean, sexism went wrong. They really hate women. Wonder Egg, deadass, just said with full confidence, women experience stronger emotions than men because men's emotions are rational, which is why women die horrifically, which is like, wow, we really glossed over that. And that was just in the show. It was a visual novel where part of the plot was initially there seemed to be a reason why robots were hated because they started war against humans, which wiped out most of humanity, but later it's revealed that what wiped out humanity was a weapon humans made to wipe out robots. The robots were only rebelling because they wanted basic workers' rights. The truth was being obscured by the main character because he's a human. Wait, what was this from? Also about to bring in my shotgun response. Yeah, no, I know. Wonder Egg makes me so sad. Wonder Egg makes me sad because it had really interesting trans rep. And then it was bad for so many other things. I don't think I drew this hand right. I gotta redraw that. On the topic of media, I am excited to consume, though. I am really excited to play Deltarune. Okay. There was trans rep? Yeah, in Wonder Egg, there was a trans man character who was, for whatever ungodly fucking reason, sorted in with all of the other, like, girls. Because he couldn't have suffered more. What anime shows would you or chat recommend, especially ones that dive into heavier topics? You should watch Paranoia Agent. You should read the trigger warnings for Paranoia Agent, but I love Paranoia Agent. You should also watch Odd Taxi. You should watch, well, Nichijou does not delve into deeper subjects, but I just like Nichijou. Have you read anything but Tatsuki Fujimoto? You might not know this, but I have like almost all of his manga. Yes, and I love Look Back. Look Back is probably one of my favorite pieces of media that exists. I would actually recommend watching Look Back the movie. The Look Back movie was really good. Is it just me, or is anime, especially its fandom, full of creeps? Honestly, I think that it is a common misconception. I think that within the anime space, people justify things a lot more, but there are plenty of people that enjoy anime and are perfectly fine and normal people. I mean, think about it this way. Like, fiction enables people to do kind of horrific things because there are no consequences for it. In the same way that, like, well, that's a whole topic for another day. Just to say, I don't think that all anime watchers are bad. I think that it could be kind of harmful to go about with that belief. I still don't understand how this art fight thingy works. Okay. Art fight breakdown in a nutshell. 2 teams. There are 2 teams every year. This year, the teams are Fossils and Crystals. Artists of all different abilities and credences and, you know, stages of their art journey get sorted into one of these 2 teams. They can pick the teams for themselves, but they can also be sorted randomly into 1 of 2 teams. The game goes from July 1st to the end of July, like July 31st. And the way that the game works is you draw pieces for people on the opposing team. So right now I'm doing an attack, air quotes, because like obviously I'm not like attacking, hitting this person, but I'm drawing their OC. This attack, when it's done, the art piece will score my team points, and I'll score like, I think this will probably add up to be like 40 points. The points are scored based off of the level of polish and detail put into your piece. So for example, yesterday's attack that I did was a bunny piece that was like this. This is a character full body, has a background, it's full shaded, full colored, and has clean line art. So this piece scored a pretty high amount of points, as opposed to something like these, which were chibis. They are pretty clean. They were basically like a color sketch, full body, and they're 4 different colors. So they got less points than the previous attack did, but still a decent amount. Art Fight works, ignore Huntress Mega Block. Art Fight works by basically being like a series of attacks back and forth between artists from the 2 different teams, and the end result is one of the teams has more points than the others and wins. Never knew about the scoring system. Who decides these points? It's self-graded, because they're going to ask you, like, did you fully color this piece? Did you line art this piece? That way it's not judged by basically how good the piece is, air quotes, so that beginner artists can be ranked at the same way as like an experienced artist. It's based off of the personal effort each person puts into a piece. Don't worry, Audendan, don't worry, Audendan. Also, sorry, people are asking who Huntress Mega Block is. I made this post last night. This is something I drew last night. You categorize chibis as full bodies? I didn't know that, actually. Someone pointed that out. I did not score myself properly because I made them simple body characters. I didn't know what that meant. Anyway, I was talking about how I love people's Roblox characters. Nah, it's not a group of randos. That would be really... Now, here's the thing. You can rate people's artwork, but the rating basically just adds on points. So, like, you would say, this is a really good piece, and it would add on, like, 0.5 points to the score of the piece. I don't think you can make the piece go down. Critters on fossils? Yes. I can't believe that was last night. Yeah. Mega Block, tears in my eyes. Your mom buys you Mega Blocks instead of Legos. I love Huntress Mega Block.
The last of the print club envelopes are packed.
GS, finally Blue Sky has user notifs. That's actually really nice. Team standing is the update for ARTFIGHT. Very cool. Wait, hold on. I closed out my tabs. Okay, there we go. I saw checking your Tumblr earlier and I couldn't stop thinking about her. I'm so glad everyone loves her. Like I do. I don't get the term media literacy, and I stress if I'm consuming media in an intelligent way. So here's what I'll say to that. Also, sorry, I'm going to read a message that was highlighted first. The Robots and Humans game I talked about is 18 plus and has some triggering content. Beware. It's called Byman 3. I gave it a play because a YouTuber talked about it, and I thought it had a lot of interesting things to say about misogyny with robots as a metaphor. What I talked about specifically was the misinfo about the war. I thought it was a cool way to show how reasons to hate minorities are planted in our history books. That is pretty interesting. So to the question about media literacy consumption, and also consuming media in like an intelligent way, and I'm using air quotes for that. I think that this emphasis being on how it is that you're consuming media rather than what you gain from consuming the media itself. I don't want to be nitpicky about wording either, because it's possible that you were like literally just meaning exactly what I'm saying. But I think the important thing and what talking about media literacy is about is that it's talking about what you get from the media you consume. And you get that by asking questions and by asking follow-up questions. Obviously, you don't have to do this with every single thing that you consume. But like, for example, a really good example of this, when people played Deltarune Chapter 1, I was already having theories about Deltarune based off of the evidence that you can find playing the game and just walking around and doing some investigation that have been confirmed in Chapter 4, which again I will not say as to not spoil because I unfortunately got spoiled on it myself, but it was very interesting to see that things that I had theorized all the way back in Chapter 1 were confirmed just based off of inferences and like small allusions in the plot. I think that the way that you get better at media literacy is by asking questions. It's by trying to see if you can predict the path of the story, and then noting where you might have been wrong. And also, another really important part of this is, while a lot of fiction is just that, it's just fiction, seeing how it ties to the author's life or how it might tie to real-world events. I think that is an important part of being both a storyteller and consumer. It's one of the reasons that I like to read about musicians that I like and read about what influenced their songs and their writing, because to me, that increases my enjoyment of their music.
See if I can entice the cats to cut their nails. Look, I have a churro too.
Critter, why did you choose Team Fossil? Because I asked my boyfriend what team he would join, and he said Fossil because I was very divided about which team I wanted to join. But also because it came to me in a dream, and I dreamed that Team Fossil won. So, I don't know if that's true, but we'll find out, I guess. I merged the layers before I meant to. I have no idea if that is true, though, so don't take my word for it. Who all is participating in this art fight? A lot of people here, from what I remember. Fossils stood strong the last few days. Although it doesn't mean anything this early in the game. I'm keeping an eye on it and doing attacks as best I can. Go my rocks.
Go my rocks.
Cause they're fossils.
Oh. No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the cat's nails.
Working on a major mass attack right now. I've been feeling so unmotivated with ARTFIGHT lately. My last couple attacks got ghosted. I'm hurting so bad. 2 season, I will say some people take a little while to comment on posts. Like for me specifically, I have been working through the attacks that I've gotten, And while I've been online on the site the last few days, I just got around to commenting on attacks that I got on July 2nd. So don't give up hope. It's possible they haven't been ghosted and the person is still on their way to commenting on the attacks. That said, I understand that that can be really demotivating, but come draw with us. ARTFIGHT is about personal practice and working on your own art and goals, and it's like the gift giving is inconsequential. It's a nice bonus, basically. So
Spirit of Christmas.
if you can find ways that you can enjoy making the attacks without worrying about the attention that you get from making them as gifts, it's still enjoyable in that way. If it makes you feel any better, there's attacks that I've done this year that still haven't gotten commented on. So I know what that feels like, but I love doing ARTFIGHT because I love drawing, and I think that I like the practice it gives me. Reread all of Leica's comment today, front to back. Your comic writing and visual storytelling is in a league of its own. The comic's really something special. Thank you. Thank you. I work very hard on it, although I've been really busy with ARTFIGHT, so I gotta get hustling on some pages. I think I might do that tomorrow during stream. Threw a rock at you earlier, so I'm rescuing my hand now because I got a little overzealous. I promise I'm coming to comment, my friend. Like I said, I just got to July 2nd on the attacks that I got, and they've been beautiful. That's the other reason I'm taking so long, is I want to make sure that I'm leaving actually well thought out comments and thanking people, because you guys took time to draw something for me. The least that I can do is actually take time to acknowledge that and see. I have so loved seeing your attacks in my subscription tag when I log in every day. It really reminds me of the spirit of ARTFIGHT because of the love you put into each one. Hehe. Thank you. Also, yes, I promised I know Steven Universe. I was a Steven Universe head in high school. I was one of the OGs. That's actually how I really got my start drawing with a following online. I've been posting art online since 2009, but I think the first time I got over 500 followers on anywhere on the internet was on my Tumblr account when I did Steven Universe artwork, and I was like, whoa, I'm hitting it big. Yeah, it's possible to join ARTFIGHT partway through. You can join right now. You can join the day before the event ends. If you've ever experienced having brain fog or mental fatigue, how did you adapt to find a way to enjoy making art ideas again? I love art so much, never want to give it up, but it's so much cognitive effort. I'd love to hear other people out. I wish I could help, but honestly, art is kind of like dissociation time for me. It's coloring. I think the most mentally strenuous part of the piece is the structuring and the sketch thumbnail, but it's part of the reason that the actual rendering process that follows, like the coloring and the line art, is so fun for me because I don't really have to think that much. So maybe my advice to you would be maybe stop trying to make yourself log in mentally while you're drawing. Just let yourself go. Draw subconsciously. Don't think about what you're drawing. It could just be shapes and colors. I kind of like to do that personally with my own work because I like seeing what comes out of it. I have a lot more. I can probably find an example really quick. Hold on. I have a lot of pieces that I would say are more just feeling, more conceptual pieces. They're not they're not meant to be anything that is for other people to consume or to understand. It's just meant for me. And these I usually use to practice color and texture and stuff like that. Glad I could catch a stream. I love the vibes in here. Been using the VODs as background noise too. That's awesome, and welcome in. Make it just shapes. May Borowski that shit. Exactly. Also, welcome in, Bubble In. But yeah, it's good. Okay, goodbye, Country's Mega Block. She keeps scaring me. This is just the Labubu image all over again. Deja Vu is one of my favorite art pieces in general. Thank you. Country's Mega Block. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't look at her anymore. Also, Bubbling, what were you guys working on? Last playing art. Very cool. What were you guys drawing? Hold on. What layer is your skin on? Hello? It's here somewhere. There it is. Was drawing an attack for art fight. Oh, that's so cool. Who were you attacking? I'm glad you're drawing a character owned by this artist because I was having trouble finding a character to draw, but I checked their profile and found one that would be perfect. Oh, they have a lot of really cute characters. Genuinely, I love their character designs. Attacking my lovies? Ooh, hold on, I'm gonna go check. I love to look for new artists to attack. I have a lot of characters bookmarked already, so some of them might not be this year. I have a lot of hits planned for this year. Was that an underscore? Yeah, that was an underscore. Oh, very cute. I love their designs. Very, very cute. Thank you for sharing. Hold on. Olive Leaf, thank you for the sub. I know I took a nap earlier, but my hair is like really soft right now. Have you ever had that happen, like where when you shower and then you take a nap, your hair just gets like really soft?
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to tiz him out about somebody's PC building list.
Wait, what do you mean?
Because they picked... I have nothing against AMD graphics cards, but in the year of our Lord, 2025, they're trying to get a 6950 instead of some of the newer AMD graphics cards that have been coming out.
I'm so sorry, but to me this sounds like 24 karat gold Labubu. Like, I genuinely don't know what these word means.
Like, there's no reason, with hardware parts, at least in my personal onion, there's no reason not to get the current generation, so that way your stuff's supported for longer, unless you get like a really good deal on something secondhand. Harper, what the fuck?
He's being so rude.
But yeah, no, I just saw somebody say that, and they're like, yeah, after years of not prioritizing it, and I'm like, I can tell, because that build is from like 5 years ago.
Why would you not update the build? You're spending money on it now.
No, exactly.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah, no, sorry, that's why I was just like, why? And they didn't say why they wanted that. They were just like, I specifically want a 6950, and I'm like, why?
Also, now I'm seeing, I was gonna say, Serene's also agreeing. Why are they doing that? Exemption on NVIDIA, their prices are insane.
Like, unless they already have it, like they just bought it and then didn't build with it, but then how do you know it's not dead if you didn't build with it?
Oh god, yeah. That was 5 years ago?
Actually, let me check. I feel like, I don't know why. I need to see when it came out. So I can be mad properly. I need to be an educated hater.
Your pet is a cat? We have 2 cats. We have Harbor, who is a brown tabby, and his partner, Kitty, he's bonded with Pluto, who is a black cat. And they're very in love.
Okay, my bad. 3 years ago.
That's still pretty bad. Not building a computer part that you've had for 3 years. Your stuff can be dead on arrival, and if you wait like a month, then you can't get it.
If you wait too long, you can't get it replaced. I mean, my biggest thing is just that there's been so many really cool, like, GPU drops, essentially, since then, that, like, I don't know why you wouldn't go with those.
Fascinating.
Granted, I also don't know what they're doing with this computer. So, like, I can't judge too hard, but in my brain, I'm just like, why?
He just poked me with his tooth. Also, my favorite Steven Universe character is Lapis. I like Lapis a lot. Harbor, stop scratching my chair. Farce cameos are always lovely, but I especially love the nerd ranting. I was gonna say it's one of my favorite qualities of yours. I love your nerd rants. I had to remake my animation mass attack because I set up the file wrong, but I'm not feeling tired on reworking it, which is new for me. I'm glad that you're not tired, but I'm really sorry that you set up the file wrong. I hope that it goes quickly the second time around. I know how frustrating it can be to redo something you've already done once. Okay, there's the scarf. Oh yeah, ARTFIGHT is a gift game. ARTFIGHT is... Okay, 2 teams. Yep, you get divided into the 2 teams. You can choose your team, or you can be randomly sorted. You can, to play the game, you attack or draw characters from the other team, which this is a character from the other team that belong to players on the other team. They're OCs. And then once you draw those characters, you self-score to determine how many points they're worth based off of how much effort you put into the piece, and then you score points for your team based off of that. And then you can... What the... Why is there artifacting? The boys, they're so handsome. They are. I love them. I think it's possible that I paint bucketed up against a area that I had already colored and I didn't have area scaling turned on. I love CSP so much, but it drives me crazy when this happens. Typically, to avoid that, I just do select expand and then use like a huge brush. But you would get to attack the character by drawing them. Yes, yes. So this character does not belong to me. It belongs to a player on the opposing team, and I am drawing this character as an attack on that person, and then I am scoring points for my team by doing so. And so by the end, one of the 2 teams wins because one of the 2 teams will have more points. And that's how the winner of Art Fight's determined. Really, it's just a large-scale gifting game. It's meant to be there to help you practice your art and also draw cute OCs in the process. But I really like practicing drawing different people's characters, and also I'm very competitive, so I like winning. I want to win Art Fight. Like Splatfest, but not. Kind of, yeah. That's a nice drawing. Thank you.
Some of my little guys are struggling.
Your plants?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, baby.
It's okay. It's just too hot.
Yeah.
Like, truly, it is just too hot. The things that are, like, thriving right now are the bigger plants that have, like, the extra foliage to soak up the light. Or my succulents, which I've never had success with until we moved to this apartment.
Well, probably because they're getting, like, direct beaming sunlight.
They're getting ass blasted.
Which plants are suffering? Wait, Tay's asking which plants are suffering. Baby. Okay, he'll be back.
What?
My partner joined Fossilom Crystal, the betrayal. Tay was asking what plants are suffering.
A lot of my, propagations that I just moved to dirt. So I have a couple different varieties of pothos. I have a couple peperomias, but I had to split them because they were getting like really, really big and essentially like strangling each other. But ever since I did that, they've been struggling, but I think they would have struggled if I didn't do it anyways. So like there's no winning there. But yeah, it's mainly just my starts that are not big enough.
I'm sorry, I hope they live.
No, they should live. They're just gonna look ugly for a little bit.
Me and my Lola have some veggie plants potted near the patio area. Those poor guys have been getting nuked this summer. Genuinely, I don't know what it is. We had a thunderstorm earlier because of how hot it was. It got to 100 degrees today, and then it got so hot that afterwards there was like this really intense thunder and lightning storm. I like it because I like storms, but at the same time it's been like kind of crazy because this has been like every other day the heat's spiked super, super high and then we get a storm. I specifically chose Crystal because so many of my friends chose Fossil and I wanted to attack them. Yeah, it's been like 100 here and I've kept all my starts out of any sort of sunlight. My one is starting near our aircon and it's doing pretty well. Thunderstorms can be caused by hot weather, so not to be a nerd. Do you understand why storms happen? When 2 different temperature and pressure fronts meet, the change in temperature between those 2 like groupings of air and temperature basically causes a reaction that causes thunderstorms. It's something to do with like the energy transfer of molecules in the air. But like, I think we got the same storm where I'm at. My CSP files are corrupted in the power outage. Oh, it's both from hot and cold air. Yeah, so both need to exist. My tornado neurodivergent activated. This it also got a lot to do with barometric pressure combining on different weather planes. Yes, and actually that's part of the reason. Oh no, it's not a dumb question. I love weather science, and we were required to take it for school. So I like remembered that. That was one of my favorite units. I actually at one point thought about being a meteorologist, but then my mom said it wasn't a real job, so I didn't do that, which I think is really funny because I would argue that that's probably more of a real job than what I do now. That's also how tornadoes happen. Yeah. You have to understand, my mom also told me that going into English and being a teacher wasn't a real job too. So, does your mom want to see my degree? Oh, I fully believe that it is. It's just when you tell a 12-year-old that, they go, okay, sorry, mama, and then they go do something else. And also, to be fair, my mom is like an actress now, so I don't really know where this was coming from. I feel like the calls were coming from inside the house. But it is really funny that both of us are in the arts now, and she was telling me, like, what was a real job to her? Doctor, lawyer, accountant, cop, literally anything in STEM that wasn't architecture or food science for whatever reason. I guess she also doesn't trust the FDA, so, like, that's part of why. But also now she doesn't trust many STEM majors. Oh, psychology is also not a real job to her. No, she thinks architecture is not a real job. Cop real job is crazy. The lore with my family being, like, absolute, like, cop fans is crazy, considering they raised one of the most anti-cop children that has ever existed. What does she think we do without teachers and psychologists? Well, considering recently when my sister said that she was going to therapy, she sent her an article on relying on God to fix your anxiety rather than going to therapy because therapists are distracting you from God. Maybe that, I hope that provides some insight to what we're rocking with here.
Like, look, he's just gonna be kind of ugly for a little bit.
Oh, thank you for the save break. Buildings do not exist. I remember this talk. I literally, okay, you know those videos of people going through, like, articles and stuff where they have, like, the pointer finger and they're, like, tapping really loud when they go at, like, they find contradicting points? That was me with, like, the digital highlight pen to the article that my little sister said that she sent her, because the literal first paragraph of it is like, you know, you can't just will your anxieties away, but psychology is full of corrupt philosophies that are very anti-Christian. So what you need to do actually is rely on God to take your anxieties away. And I was just sitting there like, can't will anxieties away, pray to a figure that doesn't even respond to you. It's not adding out. As a Midwestern American whose family is just like that, you have my sympathy. Yeah, I got kicked out a few years ago, so I'm doing well. But I still hear horror stories from my siblings that are still there. And I'm like, God bless, you have a couch here whenever you're ready. Also, architecture, does she not live in a home?
She was bragging about how her home was built by an architect and was really cool too.
No, she was. Her thought was that it's like an oversaturated field, so they don't need any more. Which is, like, fascinating hearing this coming from someone that said that I should be an accountant. But I digress.
Pluto, please, release.
Whenever you're ready is fucking insane, but also so true. Well, because I know it will happen. They've said as much. They're just like, I gotta finish college first. And I'm like, get that bag. I get it. Go to college, have free rent, even though it's nightmarish, and then whenever you're ready.
You know, like when babies just like will refuse to sit down.
He like goes stick man.
Yeah. He's not.
My mom also thinks that about psychology and did a minor in it. No, that's the same with mine. My mom is like, psychology is not a real job, but also that was her degree. So it's like, Irm.
It's okay. You got daggers. You got daggers. You got daggers. You got daggers on your.
Oh, I didn't do the patches on the jacket.
You got daggers on your.
Sorry, I just keep hearing you go, you got daggers, you got daggers. I'm like, why is Pluto armed?
He has daggers on his feet. He's got weapons. Little man. Some of these are not that bad.
What do you mean, guys? Her home wasn't built. She planted the house into the ground and watered it until it grew up into an adult house. Help me. Help. I just got showed your Instagram today. Wait, that's awesome. And welcome in. Who is the owner? I want to draw him. I think the owner of this attack is, or the owner of this character is pinned right now in chat. If you would like to draw the same character. As an ex-Catholic, I prayed the OCD way, and all I got was intrusive thoughts. Why does the Catholic Church love people with OCD? Like, it's their favorite audience. It's like you are genetically primed to be manipulated by guilt, the cult. It's crazy. I don't even have Catholic guilt. I think because, like, I knew that was, like, bullshit from day one. Because, you know, you suffer abuse at the hands of adults that are supposedly godly, and you're like, that's not true. That is simply untrue. I have the facts to back it up. But God, the amount of other people I know that have like religious OCD is crazy. Thank you for the hydrate.
I'm about to scare the cats.
Why?
I need to shower the palm.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they're not gonna like this. Ooh, scary.
Scary palm plant.
Scary palm tree.
I think maybe Catholicism causes people to develop OCD symptoms for reasons I could not possibly imagine. I've had a lot of thoughts about this, right? Because I do also feel like there are certain situations which would invoke OCD symptoms in someone. For example, I would say the panoptic way that the internet has people interact with others and be scared to ever make mistakes or not know something lest they be labeled as permanently evil and deserving as punishment and shame forever. I would say that also probably would cause people to have OCD symptoms. They're like, for example, moral OCD is a really good example of something that can be triggered by this. It's part of the reason that I don't go on social media a lot, because specifically the way that people word a lot of posts, even if I agree with the core content of them, the ways in which they are worded is like literally gasoline to the fire that is my brain. All that said, it has led me in my own journaling and introspection to wonder, does that mean that the OCD was caused by that thing? Or does that mean that I was already genetically predisposed to OCD, and because of exposure to those environments that triggered the OCD symptoms, did I then experience having OCD more intensely than I would have in an environment that wasn't triggering for those symptoms, where before maybe my OCD symptoms would have just been like occasional unpleasant intrusive thoughts. I've been thinking about that a lot. Like specifically, I think the internet phenomenon is the result descendant of the Catholic Church's effect. Oh, it 100% is. It absolutely is. Not Catholic, but holy shit, I resonate deeply with that thought process. I mean, you don't even have to be, because for me, a lot of my OCD, like a lot of the things that triggered my OCD to get really bad was not actually Catholic guilt or like religious guilt. It was actually moralizing on the internet and like people's inability to like have conversations about things productively without outcasting and labeling people as like ontologically evil for disagreeing or asking questions or not knowing something. Which is part of the reason that I always try to be pretty patient with people that come into chat, even if the things they say are kind of inflammatory, because I don't want to ever be a space where people can't ask questions. Even if the questions are asked in bad faith, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt that maybe they were asked in good faith, rather than like assume that someone was trying to be facetious or like have a gotcha moment. Can obesity be caused by something, or do you have to be genetically predisposed to it? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it is a genetic... I'm, like, not pretty sure. OCD is a genetic disorder, but I don't know if it means, like, your parents have to have it. I think you could just be more likely to risk developing it if one of your parents has OCD. Now, I will say that my mom has NPD, and that's a personality disorder, which... I guess really a lot of disorders in general are like comorbid. So you have to go into this thinking like, yes, it might not be OCD, but it is something. It is a neurodivergence regardless. So the ways that these things manifest could be different. It could be similar brain chemistry makeups that just result in different disorders. Or it could just be like comorbidities in similar disorders. Back when my mom was crazy, she tried to perform an exorcism on me when I was outed as trans. She then said the trans demons were making me hate her. Now she's like, I'm sorry I did that. God was disappointed in me that I did that. It wasn't very Jesus-like. Hello. This isn't for all OCD cases, but there's actually a post-viral effect most commonly caused by strep throat triggers sudden onset OCD in children. Interesting. My doc told me OCD is always developed, you're not born with it. Okay, that's news to me. Because I heard that, well, let me say, I don't think anyone's born with a PD, like a personality disorder, because I think while you can have genetic predisposition to disorders in general, personality disorders are literally formed either by a chemical imbalance developed as an adult or like a young adult, or from trauma. So that, and I don't think that OCD is technically a personality disorder. I think there's another one. Mental disorders are a combination of genetics and environments. I mean, yeah, that's the whole like nature versus nurture debate. I hope you don't mind me asking, but are intrusive thoughts only common and troubling with those with OCD or other common disorders? So I think the thing is, I can't diagnose you. I'm not a professional. Intrusive thoughts are something that people with many different kinds of disorders have. It is a common trouble with OCD, but it's also a common trouble with like anxiety or with disorganized thinking when it comes to things like schizophrenia or ADHD. Not that those are the same disorder, by the way. You will find the more that you research psychology, a lot of disorders have overlapping syndromes, and that's because the way that the brain reacts to pain and trauma, it has a set of things that it likes to do, and it does repeat, but we label the disorders as different things based off of the collection of symptoms that they display, not necessarily individual symptoms that they may have and share with other disorders. It's like not like bipolar, and you could be predisposed by having high anxiety, but OCD is one of the few where you develop it over time. Interesting. That is actually really news to me, and it makes a lot of sense because I feel like while I've always had some symptoms of OCD, it did really like spiral out of control as an adult and lead to me getting like diagnosed and medicated for it. And I guess like I say always, but that's like as far back as my memory goes. I don't know. I could go into it, but then I feel like I'd be like armchairing myself on stream. Just that like it's interesting that it's something that's typically developed because I feel like I did notice that in myself, and I was wondering why I didn't have signs earlier on as strong as I did when I was an adult. And it's like, well, you might not have been able to do that. It might not have been that bad earlier on. Is this bad time right now? No. It's not bad time. We're just talking about like we're talking about psychology. I enjoy it. I think it's a fun subject. I think it's an interesting subject, and it helps you understand yourself better and others. I am just looking for the eyeball here right now. There you are. The other cool thing about OCD is that with treatment, you can reach a point where you're no longer diagnosable. Really? That's also very cool. I didn't know that part. My dearest friends have a lot of mixed PDs, psychosis, OCD, etc., so I'm glad my intersections of disabilities are being mentioned. Oh, of course. Like I said, coming both from someone that has a PD and also OCD, and also just general interest in these kind of things because of trying to help myself and others I care about, I like talking about it. Also, everyone remember that psychiatry overall is not infallible. It can be wrong and is very often affected by bigotry. Yes, the goal of mental health treatment should be improving your quality of life, not adhering to the DSM 100% accurately. And also, the ways that we treat and diagnose disorders have changed vastly over the course of the years because, especially in recent years, there's been an emphasis on patient autonomy, where that was not always the case. And by patient autonomy, I mean the actual people that are experiencing disorders or pains are being asked how they would see themselves being treated and what they think would improve their lives. And then doctors and therapists are working with them to make treatments based off of that rather than prescribing what they think would be best for them. Which very often aligns with just bringing them back to being a productive member of capitalist society. And unfortunately, being a productive member of capitalist society is not actually always what is good for people. It's actually bad for a lot of people. But that's, again, a topic for another day. Why do parents have to pay rent? I mean, my parents don't pay my rent. I pay my rent. I don't understand. I'm very glad to have to experience on Tumblr because despite 5,000 posts saying I am an awful person if I don't reblog or whatever, I wouldn't be aware of what OCD actually is. Yeah, that actually was a big part of it, was specifically like OCD thought spirals and the online tendency to go like, if you don't do XYZ thing, you are a terrible, awful, no good person, you are going to hell. And for a while I kind of fell into that. I didn't do that to other people, but I did adhere myself to things that spoke like that. And then I realized that anyone could use that and weaponize that language against me to make me act. And I was like, I'm acting out of guilt rather than actually wanting to do good things and be a nice person that's kind to others. I am just acting out of avoidance of being a bad person, which is not the same thing. And so I had to really introspect, and that's eventually what led me to getting an OCD diagnosis, among other things. If the coping mechanisms work, they work. Yes. Oh wait, Kiwi said, I have this problem where I feel like I'm faking ADHD symptoms, although they genuinely comfort me and explain a lot of things about myself. I do not have a diagnosis, but my mom has diagnosed ADHD and we're basically the same. Does anyone else experience this? I mean, imposter syndrome is something people experience regardless. Not even just for like disorders, but like imposter syndrome is a thing. It's like believing that you don't actually have something or you don't have it bad enough to deserve help. But Forrest is right, and I say this all the time. You might never be able to know that you have something unless you get officially diagnosed. Whether or not you want to do that, you should consider all of what the benefits and side effects could be of getting officially diagnosed. But if the coping mechanisms help you, then does it really matter if you have it? Isn't the point just to live a better life and to like be happier? It doesn't matter if you have something definitively. The point is that you should take care of yourself and that you should want to feel better. What age did you get kicked out? I think I would have had to be like 22. So I wasn't a child. I know I have been threatened to be, and also I've been kicked out of the house for periods of time before that. Like I think the youngest was when I was 14 or 15. But like officially kicked out, like my room got gutted and things got sold, and they sold my car when I was 22. And that was also mid-pandemic, so it was a lot. There was a lot going on. I had also just been hospitalized very briefly before that, so like it was at a very vulnerable time in my life that happened. I really think actually the goal of that was to make me fail, because I had been on an upwards climb. Like I'd been doing a lot better the months before I got kicked out. And then there were multiple times when I tried to move out on my own with a friend that my mom stopped me and said, no, stay here, the rent's free. And I was just like, okay, but like, you know, I want to make sure that I have a roommate for when I move out because I can't live on my own yet. And then 2 weeks after she told me to stay, when I almost moved out with a roommate, she was like, okay, you need to get out, there won't be a room for you, we're moving. So They sold my car. I think they wanted me to fail. I mean, yeah, I genuinely think they did. And I think that, like, the car specifically was kind of the part that made me realize, oh, like, you don't want me to have the ability to be self-sufficient, because how am I supposed to get a job if I don't have a car?
Because you also pointed out if they really needed the money, you could have bought it from them. Like, for what they
I had the
for.
money. I could have bought the car from them, but they sold it to someone on Facebook Marketplace for like $2,000. So I had no means to transport and get around. And that was a lie. There was in fact a room for you. Yeah, that was actually the final nail in the coffin, is that later my dad was really confused why I never visited, and I was like, because there was nowhere for me to stay. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, there was a room for you. We had a whole room set up for you to stay in. I don't like this post where they talk about kids' neurodivergence are a burden to them. I have a mother who raised 7 kids on the spectrum, and she's genuinely the nicest person I know. She tries her best to accommodate to help all my siblings. Sorry, this is off topic. No, it's on topic. And I assume you never saw a cent of the car money? No, they used the car money to pay for their plane tickets. $2K for a car just to spite you is crazy. Yeah, no. And I'll say, the car was not mine. It was another situation of I wasn't allowed to buy things because, same with my phone. My dad insisted on buying my phone because he wanted the freedom to take my phone away at any point. The residing message was, that is not your phone, that's our phone, we let you use. And then anytime I tried to save to buy something, they would be like, no, but it's free, it's so much cheaper if you do it this way. And then if I did try to buy it anyway, they would come up with things that I needed to pay for suddenly. Like, they'd be like, actually, you can't do that because you need to buy your new school clothes. Or actually, you can't do that because you have to pay this bill that just came in, which was like a healthcare bill. And it was like, that started when I was like 14. Can I still do art fight if I do traditional art? You totally can. Oh, hydrate. I'm sorry, I have no water. But yeah, I think that in hindsight, growing up, Harper, growing up and leaving that situation has both made me someone that really tries to advocate for people's autonomy and like their ability to make decisions for themselves regardless of age. I know that like kids should have supportive, loving adults that help them make decisions and help them navigate the world. I think just handing a kid a credit card and saying go at it, sport, is not the way to do it either. But I think that keeping a kid isolated and not teaching them any sort of financial literacy, restraining their freedoms to the degree where they don't even understand the responsibility of dealing with certain things like bills and taxes, or worse, using appointing new responsibilities as a punishment without any sort of like counseling or like showing them how to go about it, to make them feel helpless and like they can't do anything, while also scolding them for being helpless because they don't know how to do anything, is just another way of abusing a kid while making it seem like you're trying to help them. Have you ever read Yokohama Shopping Log? It reminds me of Leica's Comet. I have it on my shelf to read at some point. Also, I'll see you, Nizar. Alright, hold on. Also, I will say, I think depending on the specific disorder, exposure therapy can help. But what a lot of people here are describing is using exposure therapy as a punishment, or doing it without basically the care that's necessary to build up to that or afterwards. And
also, to an extent, it has to be voluntary.
Yes, it has to be voluntary.
Like,
forcing it is not care at that point.
Well, it's also not exposure therapy, it's just trauma.
Yes.
Like, if there is no consent, or... I mean, that's basically it, right? If there's no consent to be put into the situation that would be considered, like, exposure, then you're just traumatizing the person you're, quote-unquote, exposure therapy.
Yes, exactly. You also have to be safe while doing exposure therapy. This is also true.
Which is why just, like, throwing somebody into a mall is an exposure therapy, because you can't guarantee that they're safe.
Yes. But it's like how if someone, per se, had arachnophobia, to help them overcome arachnophobia, you might start by just showing them pictures of spiders. And then if they became overwhelmed, allowing them to step away and calm down and self-soothe. And then after that, escalating to not just pictures, but maybe videos of spiders. And after that, allowing them to step away and then calm down. Giving the patient specifically the autonomy to decide the pace at which the treatment goes. And then letting them retreat and self-soothe when they need to. Exposure therapy requires control over the situation. Yes, it requires patient control over the situation. If the control is only in the hand of the person that's deciding when to say stop or go, and that's not the person that experiences the phobia, it's just going to make things worse. Kyala, thank you for the sub. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify because I didn't want people to think that exposure in general was bad, because that is how you treat phobias and specific anxiety-based disorders. But the way that people go about it has become really infected by pop psychology and misunderstandings of how exposure therapy actually works.
Well, that and needing a sense of control, and what do you mean exposure therapy? Like, why aren't you better yet? Well, maybe because it's not based on consent, and you're just throwing your kid in a mall and forcing them to talk to people.
Forgive me if I'm mistaken, but this sounds like something that you have experience with.
No, somebody in the chat said that that's what their mom did. Like, they just threw them in a mall and made them shop for them. So I'm like, that's not exposure therapy, that's just...
No, I know it. I was going to say I saw that too, but you just sounded impassioned by this in a way that is not usually... Not that you aren't usually passionate. Sorry.
No, sometimes my family would just get mad when I didn't talk to people. Like,
okay, I was going to say, I was like, knowing you and knowing the way that you've been treated by people... I was wondering if maybe this was something that you had experienced, because I love you. This made me realize I got rid of my fear of spiders because of the hyperfixation was stronger than the fear. Yeah, that's honestly a way to do it too. Putting that man on blast? Not even blast, just I wanted to get to know him more. Like I said, I didn't know that, but it makes sense knowing the things I do about him. Anytime I don't know, maybe this is just like me, but when you love someone, I feel that it's good to pay attention to what they get passionate about. You can't always make direct inferences about it, but you should follow up by asking questions to see what you can learn about them, because thinking that you ever fully know someone is honestly how relationships stagnate and how people feel uncared for. You never really know someone, but I think that's part of what's so beautiful about relationships, is that because we're always changing alongside each other, you get to learn them and get to know them every day. Hollow Knight helped me get over my fear of bugs too. Also, thank you for the stretch. Alright, so base colors are done. I feel like I could do some more shading. Wait, also, baby?
What?
Could I have water? I can go get it if you want, although I've had hydrate redeemed a few times and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm drying up, I'm dying.
That's okay, I was just giving the palm a haircut.
Aw. Salande.
Yeah.
Thank you for the save break.
I gave him a shower and a haircut. And I had to because of the cats.
Because they keep eating her. Oh, she's beautiful. I love your palm.
I did make sure when I was at the Home Depot that this palm was non-toxic for cats.
Speaking of non-toxic plants, are Monstera toxic for them?
I'm not sure, but anything I don't know, I just keep on a high shelf.
I mean, couldn't you look it up?
I mean, I could right now, yeah.
Because I think it'd be really pretty to have like a large Monstera. I've been thinking that for a while, that you would probably... one, I think it would look pretty. Two, I love drawing them, because in a lot of my figure classes, when we had kind of things to draw with...
Toasty got me. Monstera causes vomiting.
Ooh, thank you. The expression on this character art is so cute. Thank you.
They had Monsteras, that's why I got a Palm.
African violets are pet friendly. Didn't you just get those?
No, but I was looking at one when we were at Pride.
Right. You should get them. They were really pretty.
I just need to make sure that the light is good, because I don't want to kill anything else. I mean, I haven't killed anything yet. They're just struggling, but, like, I want them to thrive, not struggle.
Also, to the question of how many attacks or revenges I'm doing 1 attack or revenge every day. I'm not doing more than 1 piece a day. And I am not guaranteed to be revenging anyone. I have gotten a lot of attacks this year. This was kind of expected. I kind of gave this disclaimer when I decided to play ARTFIGHT this year that I cannot guarantee revenges. I do not hate you if I don't revenge, but I am going out of my way to comment on everything that people draw. I've revenged like 2 people so far, but that I base purely on if I think like their characters are interesting for me to draw. So just know that if I'm not revenging you, I don't hate you. It's just that I have a lot to go through, and also I'm pretty picky with what characters I draw. Did you know AO3 was recently down for maintenance due to running out of bookmarks? Like, they were all used. What? That one did the nail in the coffin was... The one that did a nail in the coffin was a One Direction Omegaverse story. That's fascinating. I made an account, and the site immediately went down to maintenance. To be fair, they did announce that they were going to be doing maintenance, but I would much prefer this to having the site go down like day 1. I'm unable to tell, but are you using the same brush to shade that you use to line art? Yep, I use 1 brush for every single thing that I draw. I even use it for painting pieces that are more like... Hold on, let me grab it. More like this. Like, this is also the same brush that I use for that. I was gonna do, like, stitch marks on the teddy bear, I think. There we go, it's cute. What about small artists? I mean, I don't care if someone's a small or a big artist. I just only... The thing that I care about specifically is if the design is, like, interesting to me. The size of an artist doesn't matter to me, though. I will attack anyone indiscriminately. Sorry, I love ARTFIGHT. It's the only time I can get away with saying sentences like that. No, you're not asking too much. I'm happy to disclose, but like I said, I just attack people who I think have interesting character designs. I don't care about follower count. It's kind of against the nature of the game for me to care about something like that. That said, on Wednesday, so tomorrow, I'm going to look through the website to see if we can find an artist that hasn't been attacked yet throughout this season of ARTFIGHT, and I'm going to not just attack them on stream, but I'm going to share the link to their profile, so if people want to attack them with me, you can join and we can swarm them. Out of your characters in ARTFIGHT, are there any that have gotten less attacks than what you might like more of? Also, while we're here, I just want to say that Hatsune Miku would go hard as on ARTFIGHT, and I think she meets the requirements to... So, okay, you say that, but I've literally bookmarked a Miku design. Someone has a jellyfish Miku that I want to draw later. I'm struggling to create at least 1 OC to participate, but it's so hard for me to draw only things for me. It's like I can only do fan arts. It might be a good idea to take the next year, instead of trying to force yourself to join for this game, because I think it could be kind of hard to design an OC that you genuinely like on a deadline. Take the next year to try to design yourself a character. Like, take into account the things that you like in... When is this? Yes, Wednesday. We're going to be doing the Minnow Swarm on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Where is the teddy bear lair? There you are. Isn't the Jellyfish Miku the same person that owns this character? Yes. Which is why I think I might not do Jellyfish Miku this year, because I don't want to attack the same person twice. I'm trying to spread stuff out, but I'll save for next year. I actually specifically chose to do an OC instead of doing Jellyfish Miku, because I'm trying to do OCs this year. Dying. Did you ever make a video about how you make your OCs? I find it difficult to come up with them. No, only because my method is very mentally ill and I don't think is good art advice. If I were any other person, yes, but I am not the person to be giving that specific piece of advice. I've been attacking furry-fied characters of fandom on ARTFIGHT because I'm hyperfixated on it. It's totally okay, you just got a credit? Yeah. And also, what time is the stream tomorrow? It's tomorrow at 7 p.m. I've done 31 attacks and 18 defenses. Guys, I think I'm cooked. That's crazy. It's only been 7 days. Also, what brush do you use as a regular G-Pen on CSP? It is the regular round G-Pen, but I've made like a few tweaks to the randomness feature. It is in my card, and it's a pretty quick like demo if you were curious and wanted to make it yourself. Ow, my hand. I can't wait for the feeding frenzy. I think it'll be really fun. I'm like, do I shade this more, or would this get kind of oversaturated if I did? Oh wait, I think I accidentally made something stitches, but I think that's supposed to be a pocket. I have furry-fied versions of Ashley and Leon from Resident Evil. Oh, that's awesome. I love Leon.
I was getting you water.
What was that?
I was gonna get you water.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm coughing and dying like a sad animal in the desert.
No, I'm sorry. I got distracted by the plants.
No, it's okay. And besides, I could have got it myself too. I was being silly. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing any details. There's like some texture from the cardigan, but I think otherwise, other than the pocket, I've got pretty much everything. Oh, the flower! Okay, I knew I was going to forget something. I literally bookmarked the jellyfish Miku. How silly. It's just so perfectly done to my tastes. I've done 7 attacks. How are y'all doing that? Jade Eyes, don't feel bad. I've also only done 7 attacks. I've done 1 attack a day because I don't want to hurt my wrist. I'm scared if I try to go too quickly, I'll wind up giving myself like wrist pains or carpal tunnel. Which is a really good reminder, everyone. This is a time to stretch, okay? Make sure you're stretching while you're doing attacks so you don't injure yourself. Now I'm doing exactly that. It's okay, guys. Like, it is not a race. You can do as many or as few ARTFIGHT attacks as you want. It is a game of self-challenges, not of comparing yourself and trying to keep up with others. Please remember that forever. May I recommend a keychain menu? It's a US-based small business that I've used before and love. Sure, Peachtree, I would love to hear. I'm low-key bored. I mean, you don't have to stay. These are very laid-back streams, unless you mean you're just bored general and you don't know what to do. Which I would say you should draw. Drawing is fun. But if you're bored here, you can always boogie. I appreciate the company, but I am not forcing you to stay. Do you happen to have a photo of your bi-gender candy you made during the Pride Brunch stream? Did I make a bi-gender candy? I don't remember. I might have given it away, actually. Because I don't think that I have one anymore. I literally had no idea who Markiplier was until his brother Tom posted his video about his hospitalization on Twitter. That's such a funny thing to know the author of Two Kinds but not know who Markiplier is. Because I know both. Because I'm both a YouTube kid, like raised by Let's Players, and also a furry. But you are the first. I've never met anyone who knew Tom Two Kinds but didn't know who Markiplier was. Tom Fishbach, my beloved. And Tom was explaining why Two Kinds update was delayed. He's a good guy. Both of them are. I think it's very sweet. I don't know, I really don't like when people are just like, oh my god, Markiplier is his brother a furry? Not just because I don't like furry hate, but also because he's just a nice guy. He's chill. Like, leave that poor man alone. He's been making that same furry webcomic for like, what, 20 years? Me someday. Do you know their mom runs a cooking YouTube channel? I did because my boyfriend and I watch it sometimes. What is Two Kinds? It's a furry webcomic. It's alright. It's not my taste personally, but it's a long-running furry webcomic that's written by Tom Fishbach, who's Mark's brother. And it's pretty, like, beloved by the furry fandom. So, like, that's one of the other reasons why you don't fuck around with Tom. Like, you do not bad speak that guy. People love him. That's why Mark's fursona is a tiger. Like, his fursona, I'm pretty sure, was drawn by his brother. Hello, everyone on Markiplier, I'm a fish. That sounds awesome, yeah. I don't know, I'm always really, like, touched to hear how he's doing. I didn't know Mark's brother was a furry, that's so cool, yeah. Yeah, genuinely, I think his brother's was more prominent online before Mark was, which is such a funny thing to think. Like I said, he's been writing that webcomic for like 20 years now. I keep touching this up because I don't know what else to add, but maybe that's a sign that I don't add anything more. Like, I was going to add a background, but now I'm just kind of like, it looks good. I don't really see anything else that I would add to it. Or that I would want to add to it. I think that anything else would be overcrowding. Maybe just like a few tone things here and there, but that's pretty much it. It reminds me that Jaden Animations has a fursuit. Okay, that's news to me. What is Jaden's fursona? Yeah, Mark's fursona is a green tiger. There's a whole essay on transrep in his comic as well. Oh, that's really cool. But seriously, okay, but elaborate, because that's like Oomph-in-Law. What do you mean she has a fursuit? Jaden's suit is just Ari? Wait, that's really cute, actually. I didn't realize that. She has an Ari fursuit. Awesome. I need to draw her fursona for her. I think it's just her bird. That doesn't matter. I think that's awesome. I think more people should do that, actually. I also love my pets so much, I would cosplay my pets. She also went to a con? Wait, that's so cool! I mean, okay, to be fair, it's kind of like, I can understand how Jaden would be a furry. She is a Pokemon fan, has been a Pokemon fan for, like, longer than I've been on the internet. Actually, that's not true. I think we are pretty similar in age. But my original fursona was just my rabbit. That's so sweet. But yeah, that tracks for me, actually. I don't know why I was surprised. I think it's just my first hearing it. I feel like I'm usually very well acquainted with everyone that's a furry. But that's news. News, but not shocking. She technically isn't a furry, but is friends with them. True. She's Oomph-in-Law. Like, she could be. I think hanging out, no. If she's friends with that many furries, she knows. Like, I feel like if you're someone that doesn't know any furries and your only interactions with them have been what other people say about furries, you might actually be a furry, but because you have only negative stereotypes, you just don't know it yet. But if you're friends with furries and you know you're not a furry, then I don't think you're a furry. I think you would know by that point. Like, you could be an ally. I'm recently thinking of making a monster sona because of you. Oh, that's awesome. Is your tail a paintbrush? Yes, I have 2 paintbrush tails. And the colors can change. I make the paints myself. Is there a furry ally flag? I mean, is there a furry flag? Do we have a furry pride flag? I think this is something I would love to know if it exists. This is something that lands you on Fox News in 10 minutes flat. The bear flag. The Odd Ones Out also has a fursuit, right? How do all these people have fursuits before me? I've been a furry since I was 11 and I don't have a fursuit. I mean, I guess also I've been poor for most of my life, but still. Sorry, I'm doing like little flowers. I don't know if I want to do a full background, but I think that this is a pretty solid little design to have in the sides. Yeah, money is a huge factor. James is always a furry though. He's just drawn out his public announcement as one. Interesting. Taking notes. This is news to me. What's your art fight? My art fight is Four Leaf Island. Same as my username pretty much everywhere. I think the only place I'm not Four Leaf Island is on Toy House, where I'm just Four Leaf. But that's because that was available. The next fundraiser where we raise money for critters should be something nice. Should be a fursuit goal. It will be not. It might be nice. I would feel bad asking for that, but maybe my thanks can be I can do a meet and hug everyone in suit. I'm sure you went over this in one of your art tutorials, but is there a reason you didn't side where the character overlaps with the teddy bear? Aren't you Four Leaf on Comic Fury too? I think I am on Comic Fury. Why do you have two different Tumblrs? So, okay, this is maybe like old Tumblr user theory, but when you are an artist or someone that makes content, typically you want to have what is called your main blog, where you reblog, comment, interact with posts, and then you want to have your topic blogs, which are your side blogs. So specifically, Four Leaf Island is a topic blog because it's my art topic blog, but I actually have like multiple side blogs. I don't just have Four Leaf Island. I have a Pokemon side blog, which is where I reblog other people's Pokemon art. That's called Snapdex, where I specifically am trying to collect artwork of, specifically Shade. Honestly, just because I didn't think it would look good. That's all. There's no hard or fast logic to it. I just think that the overlap there would be kind of noisy, so I decided not to. I have a Pokemon side blog. I have... Now I'm like checking because I don't remember. I have Leica's Comet. Leica's Comet is a side blog, so like my webcomic side blog. So we're already at like 4 blogs that people are acquainted with. That's not including personal ones. I have a comics side blog that's not my comics, but where I specifically collect comics other people have written. And yeah, like I said, those are all the ones that I am happy sharing because those are like public facing ones. Gonna skitter off for the night to hang out with friends, so I hope you'll have a good rest of the stream. Thank you. Content creators with properly split side blogs are a godsend, so much easier to see and follow all their art. That is specifically why I have the art side blog. I think that some people don't want to see me talk about snatched Roblox character Mega Block Kuntress, so I have the art block, I have the art side blog specifically for art pieces that aren't my Tumblr posts that look like this. Hold on, I'm grabbing a screenshot. Like, not everyone wants to see this. I made embroidered plush keychains. I would love to do one for ARTFIGHT, but I want to make sure you're comfy with the 3D object. I'm more than okay. That's awesome. What is the comic side blog? Do you mean my webcomic, or do you mean the one where I collect comics? The comic side blog is just Cafe Comic. My webcomic is Leica's Comet. Hold on, I have to keep allowing Kuntress. Who doesn't want to hear about Kuntress Mega Block? You'd be surprised. Back when I had asks on, and people could send me whatever they wanted to and subject me to any sort of mental torture they decided I deserved, there would genuinely regularly be people that got mad at me for not drawing enough and be like, stop posting these stupid shit-ass meme posts, go back to drawing your artwork. And I was like, hello? And keep in mind, not even when I did art full-time. This was when it was like a hobby. Like, I'm not even getting paid to do this. As someone who's been following or playing Roblox for years, the cunty-looking Roblox avatars are either the chillest girls you'll ever meet or just straight-up mean girl asshole types. Very funny. The meme posts are so fun, though. Why do they hate whimsy? I don't know. Treating me like a vending machine. Critter earlier said this woman said her kids watch me, I gotta be PG. Me when I have the disorder that makes me forget. Well, that's okay. Hopefully she's okay with that. That's so mean? Oh, absolutely. That's why I turned off asks, because I got tired of people being mean to me, because it didn't actually really help me at all, and if someone was going to leave a nice comment, they would just do it on my posts. Okay. Pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm gonna save this as is. Why do people on the internet feel like they're entitled to content from creators? I think that I mean, I hate to say it's capitalism, but it is capitalism. It all goes back to capitalism. Also, it is kind of early, but I actually might end stream. I did have more on my to-do list that I wanted to do, but I'm kind of the mind that maybe I should stop while I'm ahead so I don't hurt my wrist, because my wrist was sore earlier this morning and I actually wasn't able to draw. I had to do other work. It's fine right now, but I think instead of pushing it, I'm gonna take my win and stop and then come back to stream tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the stream, and also the other reason I can't do my sketch ahead of time, tomorrow's going to be the stream where we try to find a creator that hasn't been attacked yet. So if you want to tune in for that, remember that that's happening tomorrow. We're going to do like our feeding frenzy stream. I just want to say that I replied on Discord Critter. Oh, thank you. 7 p.m. like usual. Yep. Tomorrow's stream will be 7 p.m. Thursday's stream will be in the morning because we don't stream Thursday nights. But tomorrow we will be streaming at 7 p.m. like usual. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming. I hope to see you tomorrow or when I see you next. And ciao.